I don't do such late live feeds, but I'm sure most of you know that the third quarter earnings were released today, right? Uber Technologies Incorporated released their third quarter earnings, and at close, it was at $31. The stock price was at $31.08, down 0.92%. But after hours, they got a spanking, right? They got a spanking. They went down a whopping 5.57%, down to $29.35. And then I see the CEO. I'm sure you've seen some of my previous videos. I've lost complete faith in this guy. I gave many reasons why. I want the public that is thinking of investing into the stock, work with us, work with the labor force, work with the drivers. When I make a request to you saying, don't back this horse, right, until certain changes have taken effect. What the public doesn't know is that we are making less than minimum wage, right? And we're doing a lot of work for them. We're doing a lot of work for riders and passengers for very little money. So don't go and back a company. Don't buy stock when I'm telling you this is how we get treated. We, the people that drive you around, right? So just have our back here, dear public. I don't think that's too much to ask. I really don't. Me appealing to you, drivers appealing to you, saying, back off. Let's exercise some pressure on this company until we can see some positive change. Now, the cool thing is, for any person coming into a live stream for the first time, you may have clicked on this video because you saw the stock price, you want to see where it's at. But at the same time, dear public, you get to connect and read a lot of awesome messages from drivers, right? From subscribers, from real Uber and Lyft drivers. I'll name a few here. El Villaseñor, Mark Fowdy, Mark Roughton, Tavaloriel, Poke Because, Abstract Echo, John Spalding, Matt Fitzgerald, Romeo Bucala, Forrest MB. These are real drivers, and if you go through various videos, and I'm telling the public this, there's a lot of good YouTubers that bring you real, info about the rideshare business. And as you go through these various channels and you find some live feeds, always jump to the right and take a look at what real drivers report, what they write, right? And that should tell you a lot about the company, about the CEO. So if I can use this moment to connect with you, the public, with you, the rider, with you, the passenger, that we, the drivers, take from A to B, allow me to ask you to not back this horse, to not invest into the stock until they have, or until they are willing to show your driver, namely us, that they are willing to change their ways. Now, if I could tell you, and again, this is for a person checking in on the stock, again, could be a rider or passenger, that I am a big advocate for safety, right? Because you in our car, as well as us drivers, should receive the very, very best technology we can possibly get in our apps, keeping us safe during the ride, right? And what you, the public, what you, the rider, may not know is that these companies shied away from going to House committee hearings that were about your safety, about our safety. They didn't show up. They don't care, right? And I've made video after video after video appealing to investors, appealing to, the big boys, Wall Street, that this clown that runs our company, Uber, Derek Hay, needs to go, needs to be chopped, right? Because you, the rider, us, the driver, we deserve so much better. We deserve so much better, folks, right? Than having a guy on top that is delivering these numbers quarter after quarter after quarter, right? Investing money into things that don't make sense. Now, I'm not making this stuff up, but there was a time where they proudly said, we are the Amazon of transport. We have every possible angle covered transport-wise, and I'm talking from electric scooters, bikes, upwards to cars, every type of rideshare category for people that don't have money, for people that are pooling, for people that want to get into a luxury car and be picked up from a wedding, from people flying in New York in helicopters, submarines in Australia, boats in Nigeria. It truly started looking like this company had transport figured out and was maybe on course, right? On set its course on a direction where they could, in 3-4 years' time, really be the go-to app for transport. But somewhere in between, things went horribly, horribly wrong. And I hold the CEO accountable for this, right? Lyft didn't walk into this trap. Lyft stuck to its core. We're all about transport. We're all about the company, the drivers, the cars, right? And they stuck to the core. And I think if you compare apples and oranges today, stock prices, I think Lyft is doing a whole lot better, right? And one of the things that I said in the previous video is, Uber, who are you? Have you lost your identity? What is your core? You're branching off into health. You're branching off into money. You're in Uber Eats. You are branching off into jobs. You are all over the map, right? It's like this guy is suffering from ADD, right? Attention deficit disorder, right? He cannot keep his attention on one sector, namely transport, for 1 minute, right? He believes he can sell this little story that, hey, if we're involved in health, if we're involved in money, if we're involved in jobs, and some, you throw enough shit on the roof, something's going to stick. Well, the message that you are sending to the public, and again, I'm talking to the public here, and of course, my family of drivers in my house here, that are giving great feedback, right? Is that when you take your head out of the game, out of the transport game, and start dibbling and dabbling in all these other business sectors, people truly don't know who you are. What does Uber stand for, right? I mean, we understand what Apple stands for. We understand what Google stands for, what they do, what they deliver. But when I start looking at Uber, specifically Uber, and I don't really want to bring Lyft into this conversation, I understand why they're heading in this direction. How can I, as an investor, take this company, yet alone the CEO, serious? I can't, right? Because you look desperate. You desperately rolling out things one after the other, and you're being distracted by all of your new little ideas is that you're losing focus on the main thing, and that you started in the business of transport. Now, where there have been a lot of upsets for drivers over the last 2 years, and I want to let the public know this, and I want the rider to understand this, is that you don't really know what we receive on the back end after we drive you from A to B. All you know is, hey, I'm paying this amount to Uber and Lyft. You don't often get to see what your driver is receiving. Maybe next time you should take a moment, right, and reach out to your driver next to you and say, oh, by the way, thank you so much for your trip. I see that Uber or Lyft charged me $30. If I may ask you, how much of my monies did you actually get for your great service? Guy, he or she might turn around and say, out of the 30, I got 12. This is what you, the public, the rider, the passenger, needs to understand. It's the treatment. It's the poor treatment towards drivers. And if you know this, and if you see it with your own eyes, right? You're next to your driver and he's showing you what ends up in his account. How can you consciously go out and back the stock, right? How can you do that when you know that the greed of this management team, right, keeps the majority of the money and then is pushing that money into so many different directions which absolutely don't make sense? How can you, as a conscious investor, put your money into this? There's 100 other places you could stick your money, right? Go with the proven. Amazon, up and up and up and up. Google, up and up and up and up. Apple, up and up and up and up. Microsoft, right? But this here is like going to Six Flags and riding a roller coaster, where there's more downs than ups, right? There's more roller coasters going down than lifting up. And it's my duty, and it's a tough one, right? It's a real tough one, but it's my duty to go back to these numbers almost weekly, right? And show you that even when you hear about the first quarter this year, the second quarter, and today, the third quarter, right? You got to ask yourself, why is this company still stuck in this mess? Why is this company still defending lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit? Why is this company always in the news for passengers or drivers being assaulted, killed, raped? Why is it? And I'll tell you why. It's because a group of people on the top of this company, starting off with both CEOs, Derek Kay, Khosrawi, and Logan Green, they don't know how to manage a rideshare company because they've really never been on the street and speak the language, right? They may have a degree, but they don't understand how this business ticks, right? And their decisions, most of the decisions are so outlandish and don't make sense that it starts confusing the investor, right? And it starts upsetting the drivers more and more and more. If I would do a survey and I would say, who do you think is the most hated man or hated CEO in the rideshare business? I will tell you that 90% of the drivers will point at the CEO of Uber, right? And it is important that I say this, and it is important that investors, the big guys who've put the money into this, start realizing that if this guy is delivering losses after losses after losses, how can you keep him steering the Titanic towards that iceberg? How can you do that, right? Now, I made a video yesterday when I said and predicted, and I was on the money with this one, that Uber would report a very, very disappointing growth, right? Growth of its base of drivers, and this is what these are the factors that the investors look at. How many new clientele passengers have you added to your platform? How many new drivers have joined worldwide, the US and abroad, right? And those numbers did not deliver. And I tell you, one of the main reasons why is they expected the Dustins, the Harrys, the Geos, the Torstens, the rideshare professor to go out there, recruit and recruit and recruit, city by city by city by city, newbie by newbie by newbie by newbie, and not pay for that service. It's like saying to a recruiting company, hey, are you a recruiting company? Yes. What do you do? Well, we recruit staff for you, and you charge, right? Yeah, we charge a fee, X% of that expertise we bring to your company. Well, I tell you what, can you do that for free? Or are you willing to do that service for free? This is how Uber and Lyft are treating the Dustins, are treating the Harrys, are treating the Geos, are treating the Uber girl Paulas, the Daves, the Kevin, the Apptrepreneurs, and the rideshare professor. Bring us the people for free, right? And we're not fools, right? I've been promoting in certain cities, and I'm not going to promote in a city where you're not paying me for my efforts. So I kill the code. I take the code out, right? And the more rideshare trickster, good to see you there. Great channel. Go and subscribe to him, right? That's the gentleman with a cool car. I don't want to lose the flow of this. And I am going to jump in and address and talk to the visitors in this channel just now. But this here is going to keep on bleeding and hemorrhaging until the culture of rideshare, the culture of the CEOs, the culture of the treatment changes. And when that change doesn't come, and when those investors are not willing to make those tough decisions and chop on the top, this is going to continue. Because right now you have a bunch of fools running your show. I know it's embarrassing, but it has to be said, right? Has to be said. So why not go out and start getting CVs, resumes from people with some sort of transportation background, right? At least, look at people from the taxi business, maybe look at people from the trucking business, right? And bring in key players that at least understand rideshare a little better. I felt so disconnected with this company the moment Tony West announced that drivers are not the company. I don't know how you felt about it. It was one of the most disappointing days I had in rideshare. I felt so disrespected, right? After, I would say, easily making this company in excess of $50 million based on the number of people that I've brought in, based on an average of trips that these drivers have taken. It was disgusting to hear those words and then have them quickly try and reinvent themselves as a technology company and go in direction money, go in direction jobs, go in direction health. They're all over the show, right? It sent the wrong message to Wall Street. Derek Kay sent the wrong message, and Tony West. Basically, it was the biggest FU sign to over 3 million hardworking drivers that brought the company to that IPO point. Uber girl Paula, who are you talking about? I lost you. Tony who? follow. Tony West. Gosh, sorry, it's been a long day. So a few things I want to read. I read a lot of reports today, people talking about, the third quarter earnings. One article that stood out, I'd like to read it to you. Uber Technologies disappointed investors with quarterly results showing lackluster gains in bookings and monthly active users. Two of the metrics most closely watched by Wall Street. Okay? These are two of the most closely watched metrics. Are you growing your passenger base? Are you growing your markets? Are you growing your driver base? If you look at the disaster here in my city, LA, at LAX, right? One of their top money makers in the country, New York, maybe San Francisco, LA. The amount of damage that Uber and Lyft and LAX have done to drivers and passengers in 1 week, from October the 29th till today. I drove there on Sunday, I was there today. You have passengers waiting 90 to 120 minutes. You know what they'll say? Screw you, Uber. I'm taking a taxi. And in that case, I'm happy that the taxi drivers benefited from that, because that was sub service. That was poor service. And once you do that type of damage in a big city, do you know how many users you lose, right? Do you know how many people will then say, hey, I'm a frequent traveler. Taxis from now on, I have to pay a little bit more, but time is money. And I'm not going to stand out there in the heat with 40, 50 people under an umbrella. You think I'm joking? I want to show you this picture that I took, right? These are people. There's a picture I took tonight at the new LAX pickup. And I'm a market research guy. I'm not shy. I go up to people and say, how long have you been waiting? Are you happy? And the vibe across the board, shuttle drivers, taxi drivers, Lyft drivers, Uber drivers, and especially riders were pissed. So how much damage did Uber and Lyft do to their clientele, to their booking passengers that pay us, right? Pay the company in 1 week. You did not have the time to plan this thing out. You didn't do any dummy testing or beta testing where you send 500 cars in at a peak time in 1 hour to pick up 1,000 passengers. You didn't do a role play. You didn't test the system. It's a disaster. And this is why I say the CEO has to go. These type of mistakes should not happen with statistics, technology, computers that we have today, right? Where you can conduct tests, where you run scenarios, right? Bottleneck after bottleneck after bottleneck, disaster after disaster after disaster since October the 29th. And I'm only talking in LA. I'm sure many other drivers can report similar stories from airports around the country, right? And that's why I'm saying, if you have a guy like this who can't even take on such an issue, you're not worthy of being the CEO. I'm sorry. You're not worthy of a price higher than that. That's a reflection of the Uber leadership. That's a reflection of the direction that Uber has chosen by going in 59 directions, right? Uber girl Paula, very accurate statement. She says they should have never screwed LA up. Dumbasses. And you should underline that word dumbasses 3 times, because you've done so much damage in a city, right? I personally would not encourage drivers to go and wait 30 to 60 minutes. You're losing money. even if they're trying to throw you a bone. I showed in one video that Lyft was throwing $17 at drivers, encouraging them, please, please, please come in here into this mess and pick up these irate passengers. Do you want to, as a driver, do you want to go in and face a pissed off passenger? Firstly, he or she is gonna let out their frustration on you. You're not getting a tip. You are not. Once upon a time, even when LAX was bad, you were at least getting a tip. The taxi drivers were at least getting tips, right? But if you're driving into that mess of today, don't expect a tip because they're angry. And guess who they're going to punish? Guess who they associate with Uber? You, the driver. So LAX, to me, pickups are over, right? Divorce papers are filed on LAX pickups. Drop-offs, sure, right? So we have to bring this to the attention of the investor. They may not know what's going on city by city, right? But we have here Dara Khosrowshahi, a fake guy. Excuse me, I am worthy. If that's you, no, you're not. You're not worthy. You're not worthy of our being our leader. You're really not. Which is funny, which is not him, but the fake Derek K here. Please, if any drivers have an issue with a passenger, they can always call into our fabulous support team who will solve everything. So to the fake Derek K who's in this room, I hope it's you. It would be beautiful. If it's you, you can call me. Call me from San Francisco. Prove that it's you. Let's get you on the line. Here we go. Call me, Derek K. I'm waiting for a 415 number to show up on my screen, right? This guy here, I'm going to call him fake Derek K for now, who says you have a fabulous support. I'll tell you a story 24 hours ago, right? What happened to me. I'm dealing with their specialized team who's giving me 5 variations why they deactivated my first account, holding on to all of my monies, right? And not paying me out, but not being able to tell me why they deactivated me. And this specialized team has been working on this for 90 days. Same generic answer from this wonderful support team. Cut and paste, cut and paste, cut and paste. Here's the funny thing. I called in, was it last night or the night before? Maybe I have, or maybe I haven't shared this with you, right? I call in to the 1-800 number. I was waiting for about an hour, and I get a lady on the line who's literally, I kid you not, and I don't say this lightly because Uber can go back and listen to that recording. She was having sex in that booth with someone else. She was not listening to my conversation. She was moaning and panting and going off. And I'm like, I could not believe what I was, and I didn't have anything to record this. But the recording is there because they recorded. And Derek K should go to my last phone call and look that up, right? I waited an hour to spend 30 minutes with different people. I could not get through to this lady because she was so distracted doing something else. And I'm not making this shit up, right? This you call your customer service? The famous hamster wheel service that sends you back, the famous cut and paste service, the famous specialized teams that can't give you answers, right? And tomorrow morning, I really want you to watch my video on how we fight back, right? There are many, many people out there that have been wrongfully deactivated by passengers making crazy, crazy claims, right? That Torsten speaking, good evening. Hello?
I was lucky enough to be an immigrant during a time in this country when they welcome immigrants.
That was a 415 number. Interesting. I was lucky to be an immigrant at the time when they welcomed immigrants. Could be him.
The TextNow subscriber you are trying to reach is not available. Please leave your message after the tone.
Mr. Derek K., there is a 415 number. Apparently you're in our room, and I would like a call from you, sir. I have a lot of things to discuss, and I hope it's you. I really do. I invite you onto this live show. I'm not making this up, ladies and gentlemen. That's the number that just called, and it did sound like a gentleman with a foreign accent. I would love to have that conversation with him. It's so needed, right? So if you are listening, please call us back. And I'll tell you a lot about your company that you don't know, because I keep records, and you'll be astounded what I have to share with you. Have a great evening. So this is rather interesting, folks, right? That let's see. There is a possibility. There is a possibility that was the gentleman, and I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding you, because the name was in the room. I asked for the phone call, and I got a 415 phone call. And I want to have a conversation. I would hate it if somebody would hang up on me, because that individual that just called me hung up. And that's not a sign of a true leader. A sign of a true leader would take that time and finish the conversation, not just make some bold statement over the phone and hang up. And if you're going back to this live stream, Derek K., I'm coming after your company in a big way. And if you think that one individual can't shake things up, Torsten Kunitz speaking, good evening.
Americans take things for granted. I can't tell you how excited we were when we went for that green card interview, and how nervous we were. And when we got that green card, it was like this. It was a gold card. It was like a treasure.
I don't know what he's talking about. About a green card, a treasure. Don't hang up. Finish the conversation with me. Right? So we need to get the guy in a live stream facing the drivers, right? Just as Derek K. should be facing the drivers after someone loses their son or their daughter or their loved one, who's perhaps a driver or could be a passenger, after a big accident, right? That happened in a car because one guy decided to go crazy, pull out a gun, shoot the driver, shoot the passenger, right? It's a conversation that I want to have with Derek K. What are you doing? What money are you spending assuring people, assuring the public that these type of things will not happen again? And the one thing Uber is going to learn about me in the next few weeks I'll be filing paper after paper after paper. You don't believe me? The documents, American arbitration, the California legal documents, right? I'm just filing and filing and filing and getting everything on the record, right? Because the one thing I will not allow a company to do to me or to my base is make false allegations and terminate people wrongfully without bringing evidence, right? I will go after them. That's how I am in my nature. And I'm not sure if Derek Hay is a born American, whether he was born in the United States or whether he got his... Hello?
Is what drove us. It's like, you can't let this gift go. And my mom and dad lost almost everything in Iran, but they paid for a great private school education for myself and my three brothers. And while they
No, I agree with you on that. I'm not doubting that one single bit.
Wonderful gift. We knew it. And
it's not him. It's just, those are just recordings. It's interesting. So I got these audio recordings about his family. It did sound like him. Definitely did sound like him. And where he says, I've got this wonderful gift to get an education in the United States. I'm not questioning the person's citizenship. I'm not questioning where he comes from. I'm questioning his skill set, right? Could be anyone. You could be the CEO of Uber, could be a Japanese gentleman, or a German gentleman, or a South African gentleman, or a British gentleman. Doesn't matter where you come from. Doesn't matter what your story is, right? If you're an immigrant or not immigrant, right? The bottom line is, what did you do with your life? Did you get an education? And if you were hired, how are you performing? And if you're not performing like anyone else, doesn't matter what your nationality is, you're fired. And I've personally, as a driver, I've fired Derek Kay. I've already fired him because of his incompetence. No matter what his background is, right? And I'm not judging him by his background or his family's background, but I'm judging him by his results and by his treatment of people. He does not know how to treat people. So it's rather interesting that it definitely does sound like him, doesn't it? If it's him, he can call us back. This here is a reflection of the CEO and his management, overpaid people at Uber. Investors should know that. The big guns who put cash into this should know that. Wall Street should know that. The public should know that. That you're underestimating us. You're underestimating one guy, one channel, and thousands and thousands and thousands of drivers. You're underestimating the power of social media. You're underestimating what's going to happen in the next 2 to 4 weeks. I'm turning up the volume, folks, right? Because when I get so disrespected as I have, or been spoken to or treated like I have in the last 60 days, I turn up the volume, right? And talk is cheap. You can go out and research the case I took on McDonald's, the company, a large food company, and I won that lawsuit. So, it's who you surround yourself with. What type of attorneys, right? What type of a case do you have? I have a good case. And if I just start chipping away and presenting that case, what this company has done to me and what it's doing to thousands of other drivers, that's going to gather momentum, right? Press releases, working with companies that distribute press releases to all the Yahoo Finance, CNN money. It's all a matter of money, right? So my story, my word, is going to go live in the next 2 weeks. And it's going to be rather embarrassing for Uber, because I do count myself as a hardworking individual like these other drivers that has sacrificed and given the company so much. And I've been spat in the face by this CEO. And it's not the first time I've gone out there and held up the mirror to Derek Kay. I've done it after every one of his failures, right? Whether it was in the first quarter, the second quarter, or the third quarter, I held up the mirror to him and showed other investors, showed the public who he is, right? It's not a personal thing, right? It's not the rideshare professor trying to pick a fight with Derek Kay. It's stating the obvious. It's what other people are afraid to do, is to poke this guy's ego. And I would pray that his number and his recordings, his voice, I would pray it is him, right? Because what I have done is I have dented his ego. I've pricked his balloon, his $200,000 in balloons. I started popping them. And they don't like that, right? And that could be the reason why I got deactivated. But that's fine. The good thing is, when you have other income streams, I don't have to rely on this company. I can rely on a base of subscribers that I will be loyal to and that I will have their back at any given time, any given moment, right? People that come to me. And when I start sharing the tools, how the people can start empowering themselves and fight back and go after Uber and Lyft, their problems will increase exponentially, right? So I'll do a check on that number, right? Maybe it does. I'll find out by tomorrow. I will know exactly where this number originated. Exactly. Longitude, latitude, I'll have it. No problem. I know the people that get me that type of stuff. So good conversation tonight, a conversation that was really, really needed, right? And we do have to finish this article, right? It said, Uber Technologies disappointed investors with quarterly results showing lackluster gains in bookings and monthly active users, two of the metrics most closely watched by Wall Street. The ride-hailing company beat estimates for quarterly revenue and loss, improved its annual loss forecast, and pledged to turn a profit by 2021. Those weren't enough to lift the stock, though. Shares were down about 5% in extended trading after the results. So when the markets open up on Tuesday, thank you, James, I appreciate you. Check out Paula's messages. And I hope that was Derek Kay. I mean, there's a slight possibility it was him, that he just played recording, right? Person coming into the room, making a couple of comments. And then when I called him on it, I said, call me if you're from a 415 number, then I will start believing it's you. So this may sound strange, but I do believe that those recordings are his voice, that those origins came from Uber. They were recorded. He wasn't willing to engage in a conversation with me, right? But we have it here, right? I put the volume on. It should be, if we go back, it should be there. And he just needs to have the balls and the guts to have a one-on-one with me, right? I'm not afraid to have that conversation with him. I'm not, because I know what's right, right? I know how the drivers feel. I know what the drivers are doing for this company. I know how the drivers are being treated in return. That's what I know. So he can dream up any other theory. The fact is, truth prevails. Payman Ali in the house. Abstract Echo in the house. Right? You got to have balls and show up and finish a conversation, right? I mean, if you're running for the president of the United States and there's two candidates left at the end of the day, you got to be able to duke it out. You got to be able to convince the people about your story and that they need to back you, right? So when things go south, when people lose their lives, have the courage, have the dignity to step up in front of the cameras and address the people that got hurt or killed, right? If you want to engage with me in a conversation, I'm here day or night. Call me, right? This phone call really puzzled me. I don't think I'm not making this shit up there. I do believe it was him, but Dara says, yes, James Campbell, it was me. And I honestly, in the strangest way, I do believe it was him, that we actually had Dara K on the phone. But you gotta have the one-on-one conversation with me, Dara K. That shouldn't be too difficult. You really have an opportunity to connect with real drivers. You really have the opportunity to make many wrongs right? You just have to have the courage to step up onto the podium and have that conversation. Let's put you on the speakerphone, right? And let's have a back and forth, right? We want this company to succeed. I don't want to see this company flush down the sewage pipe. I really don't, because I've put a lot of money into it. I've put a lot of hours into it. I've sent them thousands and thousands and thousands of drivers, nationally and internationally. And what I get in return from the CEO is a kick in the balls, right? And that's why I'm fighting back. And that's why I'm here. That's why I have this voice. That's why I am in the top 3 on YouTube, because I am connecting with people. And wait till I connect with the masses of drivers. I have a strategy for that in place. It's part of my chess game. Remember, I announced the chess game? Not afraid to go one-on-one with Dara K. So if he's not afraid, pick up the phone and let's talk. Mano to mano, man to man, right? So I do believe he's here. I really do. I don't think the stuff is made up. That is his voice. I do respect his background. I'm not judging him where he comes from. I know a lot of people that have fled Persia and gone to Sweden. I have a lot of Persian friends, many. I am not faulting anyone for their heritage, their background. I'm going by the merit of the results. And the results ain't pretty, Dara K. And you are the leader of those results. That's you, right? Those are aftermarket numbers after you've announced your third quarter. And I would love Dara K to explain to the world, right? Because remember, they made this one big announcement where they went live, but guess what they did? Is they shut all of our voices off. We were not allowed to chime in to that conversation, right? He cut off. Here you can say what you want, right? You can state what you want, right? Good or bad, about me, about rideshare. You can put it out there. But you have to have the courage to face the music, right? And drivers have questions. So interesting live stream. And I hope you're watching this channel, Dara K. I hope Tony West, I'm going to be banging heads with him soon. I hope you are hearing and feeling the frustrations of drivers. I really do. Because if you don't, you are so disconnected with the outside world, right? And I'm happy for you that you made a lot of money. I'm not happy that you made it on our backs and treated us so poorly and literally again and again spat in our faces. That's the hat that you have to wear, Derek K. It's how you treat people. It's how you treat people.
We have a special unit there, over 100 people trained. We consulted with law enforcement. We consulted with advocates. The goal of that group is to help the victim and the survivor first. That's what we are all about.
The goal is to help the victim or the survivor first. So I would say, based on the conversation that we're having here, right? This is my theory, and you guys may think I'm a little nuts here. But as we are talking, we're getting a recording. He'll have time to talk to attorneys. He'll have time to prepare his little recordings, call in, and I obviously put them live. It's his voice. And folks, it's coming from Uber, right? And for him, when I just talked about people that have lost their lives in this job, right? Trusting that Uber and Lyft had their backs, trusting that Uber and Lyft spent the money on technology, keeping them safe, but failed and failed again. And we know that, right? Because the stories are still in the media. The pool story, 2 pool stories in a matter of 2 weeks. And we get this quick recording. I just played this recording to you, right? Which was a response to what I said. And this is why I say the guy is a coward. And the reason why he is a coward is because he will take the time to record a reply in his voice. It's his voice, right? With an attorney by his side, what he can say, what he can't say. But what the CEO doesn't have is the courage to face the music, is to come up on stage, come up on the podium and take the microphone. Like I have the microphone right now, right? Good or bad, judge me for what I'm saying, right? But I'm here, I'm showing up and I'm present. You're not present, Derek K. You're hiding in the shadows, right? So show us that you do have a pair of balls. I'd like to see that. And the only way you do that is by actually getting on the phone and having just 5 minutes of your time, just 5 minutes. Because if you don't like me, or if you obviously you dislike me and you don't like me by now, you're not going to enjoy the next 2 to 4 weeks, right? Which is a good point, Abstract Echo, but let's roll with it, right? I'm just saying that that little recording was perfect timing when I was talking about safety and security and people losing their lives and him not able to face the families. I don't think that he had some pre-recording from the past, right? I don't think you could put that together so quickly, right? Let's change the topic and let's see if we get another phone call from this 415 number. I will find out the location where that phone is tomorrow. I have the people here in LA that can get the coordinates on that telephone number, right? But I'm just curious if it is him, and I'm curious if he wants to have a one-on-one. I would love to have them here in front of the camera. I would love to have Dara Kay on my right and Logan Green, and we have a conversation with the people. And with hundreds of thousands of drivers. Let's have a conversation where we install respect towards one another, drivers to management, management to drivers, and some new direction, some promise of a cultural change in rideshare that would motivate me and motivate a lot of other people. Right now, I'm coming after Uber and Lyft at 180 miles an hour, and I have no problem smacking them head on, right? That's what I did very, very well in rugby. Never afraid. You could be 4 or 5 inches taller than me. I'm not afraid of the man in front of me. I'm not afraid of having a one-on-one with Dara Kay, right? Because I truly, in my heart of hearts, I believe that he has treated his labor force like trash. I truly believe in my heart of hearts that he does not know how to treat people, talk to people, and work with people. It's a quality that a CEO should have. He doesn't have it. He looks afraid in front of a camera. He doesn't look confident in front of a camera, right? And to me, he seems like he's hiding in the shadows in the dark, making little announcements here and there. He knows how to cash his check. You're right on that, Sonny. And I'm not making this up, but you go back to yesterday's announcement where, you have roughly 1,200 people that have been chopped, right? Engineers, programmers, staff that I'm talking to right now that are no longer, that are listening into this conversation. Thank you, Mike Agyanyan. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you. VW Van Nuys, Mike in the house. What was I just saying? I'm talking to staff members right now that used to work with Uber and Lyft, right? That'll come across this video, right? I would love someone to come on the show with me. They can show me, hey, I was an engineer at Uber and Lyft. This is the culture that I worked in. This is the environment that I worked in. When you come out as the CEO of Uber and you say, you make a statement that your staff needs to do more for less money, doesn't go that well. That culture has been done with us all the time. The drivers have to do more, drive longer, and produce more money, right? This is the way we've been treated in the last 2 years. That's a conversation he's too afraid to have with us, right? Because he'll get chewed up and spat out, right? So, what's new with the Uber? And I would love Uber to go back to my last phone conversation with Philippines, with Manila, and listen to that recording. It'll blow their mind. Exactly, Mark. I mean, I would also like to see what the odds are, whether that's him or just little recordings. The timing of those recordings and everything are very, very accurate, right? But again, you never know. Could just be someone pranking, some prankster. So the ride-hailing company, Uber Technologies, disappointed investors with quarterly results showing lackluster gains in bookings and monthly active users. Two of the metrics most closely watched by Wall Street. The ride-hailing company beat estimates for quarterly revenue and loss, improved its annual loss forecast, and pledged to turn a profit by 2021. Those weren't enough to lift the stock, though. Shares were down about 5%, here it is, in extended trading after the results. I came down by 5.57 and ended at 29.35. That's where it's going to open up tomorrow. The San Francisco-based company is seeking to assure investors it can evolve from a ride-hailing service to a global all-in-one transportation platform. There could be more pressure on Uber shares Wednesday when a stock lockup for a large swath of shareholders expires. My prediction is that people are going to offload their shares. They're not going to get involved in some sort of gambling affair with the hopes that the stock is going up, right? If they can cash in at this price, I think they're going to go for it, right? There could be more pressure on Uber shares Wednesday, as I said, when a stock lockup for a large swath of shareholders expires. An additional 1.5 billion shares could be eligible to trade, according to Renaissance Capital, nearly doubling the total number outstanding. Of venture-backed companies, only Alibaba Group Holding Limited had a larger lockup of 1.6 billion shares. While Uber's overall results were good, uncertainty about the possibility of new shares flooding the market cast a shadow that may have depressed share price, said Ali Mogharabi, an analyst at Morningstar. On a conference call with reporters following the report, Uber executives said the company would spend less aggressively and turn an adjusted profit in 2021. We will be driving discipline across the company and only doing investments that we can afford, said Chief Executive Officer Dara Khosrowshahi. The forecast echoed a commitment from Uber's smaller rival, Lyft Incorporated, which said it would be profitable by the fourth quarter of 2021. A year earlier than previously expected, Lyft, which focuses exclusively on transportation, blew past analysts' third quarter estimates when it reported results last week. So, as I mentioned probably about 30 minutes ago, Lyft is sticking to the core of its business, transportation. I think the big mistake that Dara K and his group have done is that they've done all these little investments. It has been fun to listen in, everyone, but I must run now. My Uber is waiting downstairs at the curb. We send you love, Dara K, and we do hope that you have the courage to have a one-on-one conversation. We wish you a great night, and may the Uber driver who's waiting downstairs drive you home safely. Thank you. So, like Lyft, Uber has also cut back on rider discounts and driver incentives in a bid to improve margins and narrow losses. Khosrowshahi said on the call that Uber would exit markets and dispose of assets where it was clear it could not command a number one or number two positions within the next 18 months. Uber's business strategy hinges on convincing existing ride-hailing customers. Listen to this, right? It's a big one. Uber's business strategy hinges on convincing existing ride-hailing customers, people that we drive, to use more services, right? Including bikes, scooters, helicopters, and public transportation, as well as food and grocery delivery. Uber's new initiatives include a job matching service for gig workers in Chicago and financial services for drivers. These demonstrate the company's grand ambitions. Now, I want to address that for a second, that the person who's been driving with UberX, the person that's been using XL every now and again for the family, the executive that's maybe jumping into an SUV, a Black, a Select, or a Lux, right, will he or she use bikes, scooters, helicopters, and public transportation? Will they use Uber Eats? Will the drivers sign up for Uber Money? Will people engage in Uber Health? Will they use the jobs platform? I carefully say no. And here's the reason why: because there are established players in this .com business. And that's one arena I understand a lot about .coms, because I've built up a few and I've sold a few for a lot of money. Handshake.com was my biggest prize, right? So I already see the well-established players in the jobs market. I don't think that Uber can break into that. I already see who the serious players are in the food delivery market. I think Uber is getting a fraction of that. I could see some New York executives maybe using the helicopter services. I could see some of the younger UberX, Lyft regular travelers maybe every now and again jump on a bike or a scooter, but not frequently enough to really, really show the numbers I think that Uber and Lyft are looking for, right? I think they're being rather ambitious if they think that these people are going to venture out of their comfort zone and try all these other things. I'd like to hear some feedback from you guys. Since going public in May, Uber investors have punished the company for its growth at all costs strategy. The stock closed Monday at $31.08. Well, after market trading, after our trading showed us it actually went down to $29.35, an additional 5.57% lower. So that's not even accurate. Well below the $45 IPO price. And by the way, that was the Derek Kay who said he went downstairs to get into his Uber. He's right now sitting in his Uber, perhaps following the live stream. Now's the time to call me without your posse there, without the recordings. One-on-one, man-to-man, my friend, I invite you. Although profitability may still be a couple years away, it's earlier than analysts expected. Uber ended the third quarter with about $12.7 billion in cash, suggesting it can continue investing in growth where it doesn't expect continued losses. Adjusted loss for the quarter widened to $585 million, compared with $485 million during the same period last year, but was still better than the average of analysts estimated at $808 million. Quarterly adjusted revenue increased 33% to $3.5 billion, above estimates of $3.39 billion. Uber revised its annual loss forecast to between $2.8 billion and $2.9 billion, an improvement of $250 million. It'll need to do more to attract customers. Monthly active platform users, meaning those who ordered food or a ride or more times during the quarter, was 103 million, up 26%. And analysts expected 107 million. Gross bookings, a measure of the total value of rides, food orders, and other businesses, were $16.5 billion, compared with estimates of $16.7 billion. Food delivery was especially disappointing. More pricing pressure could come next year. California legislation designed to push Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, Incorporated, and other gig economy to reclassify independent contractors as employees goes into effect in January and could increase costs in the state by as much as 30%, according to analysts' estimates. The 3 tech companies are gathering signatures now to challenge the law with a competing ballot initiative in a year. Updates with comments from analysts in the 4th paragraph. So, I said in yesterday's video, and I was spot on, that the user growth, the money where they're cutting back on advertising, losing out on the growth of their client base, what Wall Street looks at the declining numbers of drivers signing up, those are huge indicators for Wall Street, right? And those don't look rosy. Those don't look healthy at all. So, Uber and Lyft cannot be surprised when they know that drivers recruit drivers, when they know that drivers recruit passengers. When you cut off that flow of leads, right, and you have to make it up with advertising strategies, other media angles, TV ads, billboard ads, ads in sports stadiums, trying to recruit passengers and drivers, I don't think they're doing too well in that arena. I don't think their company slogan, their advertising slogan, I just don't think that Uber is doing the same job as Lyft, right, when it comes to branding and recruiting. And by chopping drivers, bringing in drivers, by literally bringing those referral dollars down to $10, $20, or no referral dollars at all, right, for certain cities, you're not helping the company, you're not helping the growth. So in my eyes, if I'm at the steering wheel of this company, I would say that Dara Kay and Logan Green are cutting in the wrong places. Sunny, I hope I'm not reading what you just wrote, my friend, because usually I flush people out. In fact, I'm not going to stand for that. Yeah, got flushed. Sometimes you got to bring out the flusher, right? How do you guys like my little flusher? Got to inject a little bit of humor after that crazy live feed. I pray it was him. I want to meet with this guy, dude. Fly me up. I want to sit down with you. Promise I won't knock you out. We'll have a 30-minute conversation with you. Right, shit, trickster. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Shoulda. Maybe we should. Maybe that's what I should manufacture. I think I'd make a lot of money. What do you think? What do you think? We make a flusher, right? But we make a Dara Kay flusher. How about that? Anybody here would buy one if I'd manufacture them in Hong Kong? I'm asking, would anybody buy them if I manufactured this as a Dara K? Dara K is easy to replicate. I'll make them in Hong Kong. Would anybody buy them? And we put that money towards a charity, right? James Bear says no. Right? San Diego Rideshare Pro in the house. Thomas, yes, I'd buy one. I'll make toilet flushes. I'll look into it. I'm going to make a note. You know me. I'm going to look into the cost of that. What it'll cost to make toilet flushes with Dara K. Dara K on my to-do list. Taking notes. I like that. Who the fuck cares? Let him file a lawsuit. Really? What? Got his ego dented? He got upset? Freedom of expression, my friend. Don't get distracted. Now, look, you need good marketing tools, my friends. You need to drive points home, right? You need viral videos. You need tools. Good. Down payment on the flusher. Thank you, Thomas. Sending love to San Diego. Hit his channel up. Subscribe. San Diego Rideshare Pro. I need to come to San Diego and we need to go to that restaurant again. Robin Reedham says, one for my toilet and one for my car for conversation, guaranteed 5 stars. I like that. You guys are funny. Oh, I like that, Mark Roughton. I like that idea, Uber toilet paper, right? I'll give you guys Uber toilet paper. Shouldn't be very difficult. But, you know, that would be infringing on their brand, so can't use the word. James Smith called it. Congratulations on the rugby championship. Thank you. Means a lot. To me, it means a lot as a South African that they won. It means a lot because it's going to help the country in a big way. It's going to unite the whites and the Africans in a far better way than ever before. Was a great World Cup, and I made a lot of money on the bets. I predicted those last scores. You can go back, you can read them. I said that England would beat New Zealand. They did. I said that South Africa would beat Wales to get into the final. And then I predicted that South Africa would beat England in the final. So all my predictions were spot on, moneymakers. And it's there, it's written. I'm not making it up now. I wrote it before the games took place. I like the toilet paper. Yeah, I really do. I really do. It'll make you feel better, right? Taking a crap in the morning and you reach over and you have Uber toilet paper to wipe your butt. Exactly. I like it. So, what do you guys predict tomorrow? Hover around here, go up to 35, go down to 27. What do you think? Needs to be made of sandpaper. No, does not need to be made of sandpaper. $15, ouch. Oof, I don't think I'll go to 15. I do too. I think there's a lot of disappointment. You know, I'm making a bold prediction that the CEO of Uber, Dara K, is gone by the end of the year. Right? I said by December a few months back already that he's out, and a lot hinges on today. A lot was riding on today's numbers, and I don't think they delivered, right? I don't think they delivered. This is after hour trading. Rideshare Trickster has an interesting prediction. It says midweek 32, end of week 28. You might be on the money there. Matt Fitzgerald says drop down to 26. You also might be on the money right there. James Campbell, I agree with you. Deals Doc, I wonder who they'll replace him with. That's a good question. I would hope it's someone that truly understands and brings the company back to its core, the transportation business, right? That's what I would hope. Apologize for the lighting, it's late. How's everybody doing with that 1 hour setting clock back? You guys do well there? Yes, Rideshare Trickster, that's my name. What can I do for you, sir? Robin Reno says, I've been telling all my passengers that if they know anyone who owns stock to dump it on the 6th. Smart. Cotton Patch 2000, if they fire CEO, then it will drop down to 27 at worst. Oh, not if they have a good replacement. This guy is one of the major factors why the stock is down, right? There is no driver out here. Very few that I've heard saying, I really like Darryl. I like what he's doing. I like what he's doing for me as a driver. I haven't heard that. I don't think I've ever heard that. Is anybody willing to say that? Deal Doc says, if they were to give you the option to bring back Travis, I would prefer to, and you guys may think I'm nuts, right? I would take Travis over. I would take Travis over Derek Kay. San Diego rideshare process, fourth quarter is always slow for rideshare trips. Yeah, sort of as it starts winding down, November, especially December, everyone's in holiday mode. Everybody's in saving mode because, you spend a lot of money on Christmas presents. There's not really much cash flowing out there. James Campbell, I like that. Sandy Man says, I like the way Derek keeps taking more of my money. I enjoy your sense of humor and your sarcasm. I love it when he takes my cash. Guys, hit up Mike if you need a car. Good guy, I've spoken to him. He's there. You can go and subscribe to his channel. Phone number is 818-317-6584. If you need a car, it's a good guy to talk to, right? He's got some pretty phenomenal deals, and I'll vouch for the gentleman. William Sobraya says, Derek K. Derek K. Good night, Rideshare Trickster. I'll send you a text. Stay safe. Drive on. Rideshare Trickster out. Go to his channel and subscribe if you haven't. Tony Slaughter in the house. Maybe they can toss that paralegal I dealt with. Yeah. Well, you got a victory there, Tony, right? You got a judgment. You're gonna love my video tomorrow when I talk about this here. Talk about this. This is ammunition. This is gold. This paper and the print on this is gold. All you need to do is fill it out. I go through that in length tomorrow. How you fight back. How you take ownership. Leo Casamento. I like that name. Tell him I'll be your Huckleberry. Tell him I'll be your Huckleberry. Like that. Texas adventures and reality. I worked 3 years with Uber and still struggling to survive on my second Lux car. What Lux car do you have? How many miles did you put on the first one? What was it? What did you buy it for? What did you offload it for? What did you buy your new one for? These are the type of questions I'd like to know. What is payment? Ali says no way to what? No way to? Come on, show us some optimism here, payment Ali. Oh, cool. Mark Roughton moved up to XL and Comfort, 2019 Sorrento. Whoop, whoop. Well, it's a good cotton patch 2000. What's the best model of car to buy for rideshare services? So I would not dive into the Uber X category anymore, right? For that same money that you're going to be spending on an Uber X car, maybe a little bit more, you could buy yourself a good minivan, you know, a Toyota, Honda, or a Dodge minivan, and jump into the XL, right? It's busy. If need be, you can drive X and XL. It's better on tips. The other categories, certain categories only work in big metropolitan cities, right? Your Select, your Black, your SUV. Those cars are expensive, right? And they only really work if you add your limo license to the mix, Uber, Lyft, limo license. If I had to give you a spontaneous answer, the best bang for your buck would be to get a used minivan where you double up Uber and Lyft XL, and preferably buy that car at a dealership auction. By the way, the new intro that I have for all of my videos, Team Torsten and Michael. Michael is a business partner of mine. Michael is the most phenomenal guy when it comes to sourcing vehicles nationally, not just in California. He buys from Florida, buys from Texas. He knows how to go through cars, pick them, and buy at the right price, right? That is also the gentleman that I partner with when it comes to leasing out the cars. So in my new introduction, you will see his name there. You'll also see some of his credentials. Don't be shy to reach out, right? If you want a price check, right? If you say, hey, I'm in this market, I'm in Florida, I can get this car at this is the mileage. Am I making the right decision here? Double check with a few people first, right? Shop around. Get an email out to 20, 30 dealerships, right? Shop around. Get the best deal for the best price, my friends. Cotton Patch, you're welcome, my friend, anytime. Go, Donnie Com. Good evening, my friend. How's it going? Liked your video, LAX. So my LAX videos, day one, October the 29th, I got there at 7 a.m. The whole operation started at 3 a.m. and the first cars were trickling in. It was looking like it was working with zero load, right? No load. Very few cars, very few passengers that were matched up fairly quickly. However, LAX, my friends, between the 29th and the 4th of November, every time we hit a peak period, LAX underperformed. They did not have their shit together. And that doesn't only go for LAX, that goes for the shuttles, for the pickup zone, for Uber and Lyft and the taxis. It was a shit show. An absolute shit show. And I don't say that lightly. People waiting and waiting and waiting. And I spoke to a lot of people, lot of frustrated people at LAX. And Uber and Lyft did so much damage to LA, right? They did so much damage. They should be handing out free trips to all of those people that had to suffer through LA exit, right? Because it was and still continues to be a shit show. They are funneling cars and people into an area that's not designed to carry the load. Rideshare Iowa says Prius cuts expenses by 2 to 3 and relatively low maintenance costs. Beautiful car. And you're right. If you can get that Prius at a dealership auction for $5,000 to $10,000, you're in the money, right? But I would not encourage someone to go out and buy a brand spanking new Prius between $25,000 and $30,000. No, right? It's a great car with today's gas prices, and there will be a lot of weekly savings, right? And that is good feedback. This is the type of feedback that I'm looking for. So I really appreciate you sharing that Rideshare Iowa. So you obviously do Grubhub, DoorDash, Uber and Lyft. You do multiple gigs. Sounds like it, right? Yeah, Deals Doc, my LAX video was just supposed to be that, informative. How does the system work? Where do the shuttles come in? What makes more sense for passengers to walk or to catch a shuttle at what terminal? Walking times, driving times. How are the cars funneled in? From what streets? From the World Way coming in, off Sepulveda there. How are they funneled in? How are the lanes broken down? Outside lane taxis, second lane Lyft, third and fourth Uber. Where do the passengers get off? Where do the passengers walk to? Where do people go to pool? So I think it was a good video based on a very, very quiet period where you could actually report and talk to people. You couldn't do that on Sunday. You can't do that on peak times anymore. People are just too aggro, right? Standing there for 90 minutes with your kids and you're not going anywhere, right? Time is money. Sind MGS is cheating drivers of Uber is bad karma. You bet so. Amy Montgomery, Lyft was using PIN system last night and was flowing a lot better than Uber. Okay, so that is really, really good information, right? So whatever works, they need to copy. Whatever makes it flow is going to keep passengers happy, right? This could be the difference between Uber passengers jumping to Lyft. Hang on, it looks like Lyft is working. It looks like Lyft is getting their people out. Let me download the app. Let me try that out. So you have your first positive experience. I can tell you right there and then, Uber has lost an LA customer. That's reality, right? This is how it works, right? It's all based on supply and demand. It's all based on customer service. You can right there and then lose your customer for life. And the other one right there and then has the opportunity to gain a customer for life. And that in a big city where people travel in and out of LAX. So could be a make or break for the companies in that city. Just what's happening at LA Exit. Kanka, Ashik Reza, be patient, it's coming. William Sabroya, thanks for all you do. Your channel has helped me very much. I appreciate you, William, for saying that. That makes my night. Go Donny Bum says, looked like a rideshare bum lot for passengers. That was terrible. Hope they do a better job later. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Go Donny Com. I hope they do. I hope every night they go and look at the mistakes and try and rectify those mistakes, right? I would change some of the logistics and those cones that they're putting out there, funneling the traffic, is still not to my liking. Robin Reenet says, I'm uber mad. That's used as an adjective now. I like that. I'm uber mad. Journey with Jordan in the house. Good to see you, buddy. Airport rides aren't even worth it anymore. Exactly. They're not. LAX for pickup is not worth it. Don't subject yourself to that. The stress levels are going to go up. You're not going to be happy. Likelihood of you being bumped by some irate other driver or a taxi driver cutting in front of you, that likelihood has gone up exponentially. A lot of aggression at that pickup area, and rightfully so. Mark Rowden says, there are 3 Uber lines. Make one black, select and Excel. Other 2 lines, UberX using PIN numbers, first come, first serve. You see, now this comes from someone that you obviously do the, is that what's happening at the Vegas airport, or is that what you are suggesting? So LA Fat Joe says to me, what would you do, Professor, to make LAX? Firstly, I think they made a huge mistake by mixing taxi with rideshare at a remote pickup location. That, my friends, should maybe only be for Uber and Lyft, just for rideshare companies. I think taxis should be at a different location. And I'm not saying that they should be inside the airport, because then they would have the upper hand and people would be using taxis over. I would just say send them to a different location, right? So when the person comes out and they don't like rideshare, they've always driven with taxis, you should have access to a taxi at a different location, or you should have access to a rideshare at a different location, right? The design, the layout of upper level and lower level, I think they still have too much congestion on the upper level, and they should really research ways to eliminate that heavy traffic upstairs, right? Maybe 1 or 2 departments need to be moved downstairs. Downstairs now is far too empty, far too quiet, far too fast. I mean, I'm loving it when you do privates, don't get me wrong, but there is no balance between upstairs and downstairs. Then the way they funnel the cars into that pickup lot, there's too many radical left and right turns, especially on the last stretch when everybody's gunning down that last stretch or in line. You're sort of fighting for the lanes, right? And I foresee, or I already said it on day one, I foresee a lot of bottlenecks. 2 hours later, that place was already tested and it was proving that it was a disaster, right? So that little intersection there needs to change. The traffic flow in needs to change. That's easy, right? You can redraw the lines, right? These are, you have asphalt and you have paint. Get the paint off, redraw the lines, right? So I would redraw the rideshare lines. I would come up with a different solution for taxis. I would look at the balance of upstairs and downstairs and try and balance it out, that maybe 1 or 2 departments that are doing the upstairs work get relocated downstairs and create more balance, right? You need flow. The biggest improvement is, when do I order my rideshare? How am I assigned my driver? That process with the pins has to be immediate, right? So if you're there, I think it should be just as the cars come in, right? Car matched with driver, car matched with passenger, car matched with passenger. So you just have a flow, and you have a couple of lines of passengers, right? And a couple of lines of cars, and it's just First come, first serve, first come, first serve. In, out. Into the car, out, right? Instead of this chaos running around. Where's my driver? Who am I matched up with? Get them out. So those are just a few of the suggestions that I have. Not that they're listening, but I think it could work. Oh, that's a journey. So with Jordan, what happened with the guy that hit your mirror on the Escalade and broke it? I got an apology from the company, got an apology from him, and they paid for it, right? And I didn't want to take the case. I didn't want to press charges. I was fine with that. But the video, the complaint that I sent in, all of that helped. All of that collectively helped. 2-3 weeks later, had it all resolved, right? That is very, very accurate what Journey of Jordan says. The only problem with that model is the driver has to accept the rider and doesn't get to see their star rating, right? And that's true. So coming in, I would still stick to my suggestion. Get them in, get them out, get them in, get them out. Whether it's low rating or high rating, you matched who you matched with, right? So it's the luck of the draw. You could have several highly rated passengers and maybe one low rated one. You could have 3 or 4 low rated ones and one high rated one. You know, it balances out. Day after day, it'll balance out, right? Goose 87, what's up, my friend? We're going into 1 hour 41. Ideally, I'd like to get it to the 2-hour mark and then call it a night. Get some sleep. Amy Montgomery says that's how it works with pins too. And yes, you're correct, but somehow this chaos that I see there, people walking around looking, it's just not working effectively, this pin situation, right? I still see too many people running back and forth looking for their car. I would say, do it like they do at those theme parks, right? You have 3 or 4 lines, people are queued up, and the line's just flowing. Cars are coming in multiple lines are waiting. Next, pull up, next, pull up, out next, pull up, out next. Just get it out instead of having this guy run in that direction, her running in this direction, this checking this pin. Is that my car? Is that my car? Everyone is looking for everyone on that parking lot, and it is chaos, right? In the current system, can passengers get in the wrong car? Possibly, yeah, they could possibly. The letters in the Uber line are utterly confusing. This 1A, B. People take a long time to just figure out where they are, where they need to go. 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D, 2A, 2B, very confusing, right? Have your lines, your Lyft lines, your Uber lines, redraw the lines, make a plan with the taxis, and get the people just taking the car as it pulls up, right? UberX line, maybe another line for XLs, a pool line. Get the people in, get the people out. Also, very good point there. Passengers can always get in the wrong car if they don't check the license plate, driver name, driver face, color, and model of the car. Very well laid out there. I appreciate that explanation. Amy says, wrong rider in Lyft if they give the wrong code, most likely. True statement. Robin Renoth, keeping my eye out for your next notification of video. Got to drive now. Thank you, Robin. Thank you for being with us here tonight. I appreciate you being part of the channel. I really appreciate your contributions, what you share with the community. Thank you. James Campbell says, no more fake passenger names. Yeah, should be done. should be, how can your passenger name be number one, or some of these idiotic two-letter words, right? He, I've seen she, it, like bizarre, stupid stuff. Unacceptable. Should not be allowed. It should be your first name and letter of your last name. You know, Derek K, Torsten K, Mark R, Amy M, right? Keep it simple, but keep it real. Rider background checks. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. There's still some people saying, nah, riders should not. No, the company should factor in, if you want to join as a passenger, show who you are, right? You expect that from us? I honestly think we can expect that from them, right? There should be certain ways where a passenger can be tested, pre-approved, based on their background checks, etc., that they are legit, right? I only want legit people in my car. And this is one of the main reasons I'm doing about 70% of my trips, private trips, because I have relationships with these people and I know these people. Driver drug tests. Yes, I have to undergo a driver and alcohol test with my TCP license at least twice a year, 3 times a year. Randomly get called in. I have to literally show up within 24 hours and get tested, right? I think it's good. I think it's really, really good. Ron Reagan says, keep up your good work. You keep up your great contributions. Thank you. No felon riders, right? If there's a felon background check and they show up, absolutely not, right? True. I like that, Dealzoc. The only way to get legit passengers is to eliminate gift cards and make everyone use their personal debit or credit card. Correct. So there's a name on the card, it's assigned to you, and you've been checked, right? Not just, oh, this is some gift card that I got and I'm going to sort of like find my way in here. And by the way, I have a shitty background, right? That type of passenger should never be sitting in our car. Really good contributions tonight. Very curious to see what happens tomorrow. Very, very curious to see what's going to happen within the first 3 to 4 hours to this number. Kanka Ashik Reza says there's no ping for 3 hours in a super surged area. And what market is that in, Kanka? What city? Los Angeles, my city. Cool. Cotton Patch 2000. Is it a strong buy then? Oof, no, I don't think it's a strong buy. I really don't. Mark Rahat says you heard it here first, under 25 after the sell-off Thursday. Yeah, the sell-off is gonna slaughter stock. I think it'll start gaining traction and coming up after the sell-off recovery. But oof, it's going to be a nasty, going to be some turbulent times, I think, in the next 48 to 72 hours. That's a smart move. Buy at $19.99. That, I think, is a pretty smart move. You know, buy at $19.99. Let's, for example, say that it happens, if it's true, and watch it maybe go back up to 30. You made yourself a good return on your investment, right? But I think there's still a lot of downward movement here. Where's our friend Uber, Dara K? Where are you? You took your Uber home. You should be at home in front of your computer. Where are you? Give us a call. I'm curious. I'm going to be looking up that phone number tomorrow. Apparently he called in. 415-801-6861. Interesting. Let's do a quick search on that. No, doesn't really point to any Uber offices. We shall see. David Vega says, I would agree. I would buy, like, if it goes under 20, I would definitely buy. I really would. But $20 to $22, if it goes down there, I would buy. Abstractly, going to the airport is fine, which is correct. Leaving LAX is where the problem is. Correct. Elias in the house. Now, let me tell you something about Elias, ladies and gentlemen. He's a very, very loyal contributor. He sends me good stuff. And Elias, allow me to thank you in front of the house. Elias Acevedo. I think he's from Compton in the house. I truly, truly appreciate your contributions and your text messages and the info that you send me. Helps a lot. Muchas gracias. Yeah, Amy Montgomery, whoever named that lot didn't think of the irony of the name. Switch the pronunciation of the X and you get Laxit, LA exit. At your service as well, Elias. De nada, amigo. That's what I love about the family of the house. We all help each other. Mucho gusto. You know, as a baby, the first 2 years when I lived in Washington, D.C., my parents said I loved my Spanish babysitter, and she was teaching me all the words. Today, I know a little, enough to get by, But I think it's a language I could learn very, very quickly because I speak several other languages. So I don't think I'd have a problem learning fluent Spanish. Should make that my New Year's resolution. Plenty have been shorting it. James Camel, good night. Get some good rest, my friend. Got to get reactivated, vote, and be rested. Absolutely. Oh, cool. Now I'm learning Arabic. Very cool. Journey with Jordan said, Peterson said laxate is a horse laxative. I don't think they thought about that. Okay, help me get through the next 4.5 minutes. I am fading. Salam. I'm fading quickly. Abstract Echo says, my mom's full-blooded Mexican and I don't speak any Spanish, but I speak Japanese and Dutch. Baie goed, meneer. Jy praat Hollands. Dis 'n baie lekker taal. And thank you, Japan, for hosting the Rugby World Cup. Arigato. Elias, ya. Konnichiwa. Konnichiwa. Languages are beautiful. Almost there. 2 hours, we can do it. We can do it. Together we can do it. Hey, tomorrow I talk about American Arbitration Association and small claims filings. Any problem under $10,000, get onto Google, get the forms. Small claims court forms, Florida, small claims court forms, Colorado, small claims court forms, California, they will all show up. The forms have abbreviations in the legal world. You will see them in the top right here. SC 100, small claims 100, the documents you file where you make your case. Have to notify the defendant in person or in writing or by phone before you sue. If your claim is for possession of property, you must ask the defendant to give you the property. Have you done this? So do that first before you can file, right? You don't want the defendant to turn around and say, well, never asked me for the money, never sent me anything. Got to be able to show that you've covered number 4 on that SC 100 filing, right? I go into all that length now. If you opted out of the arbitration agreement and you have over $10,000, of course, you could take it to court if you have an attorney. But otherwise, you'll be going the second route, which is filing the request for arbitration for the appointment. 2 simple pages. We talk about that in tomorrow's video. This is how you fight back. This is how you empower yourself as a driver. You take no shit from anyone, right? Especially when it comes to money. And Uber crossed the line with me there. On 2 accounts, they took my money. I did the work. They took the money they didn't pay. Game on. That's a declaration of WAR. How's the cat? Cat's doing fantastic. Cat's a friggin' cat's life. They get fed, get taken care of. Cat's life. Yeah, and I'll tell you, most of the time, these guys don't even show up. So you get, by no show, you get an immediate judgment against them. Thumbs up. Up to 2 hours. Thumbs up. I'm out of here. I'm already, my words are stumbling. I am so tired. Look at me. Look at my hair. Look at my eyes. It's been a long week. I'm giving you guys, I don't have more than 2 thumbs. give you the maximum up that I can give you. That's what you're getting from me. And I wish you a fantastic night. Get some rest, everyone. I'm going to get some sleep in 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 2 hours. I had the pleasure and the joy of spending 2 hours with you guys. Thank you, Thomas. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for sharing 2 hours with me. Thank you for allowing me to express what I think about the leadership of this company. And thank you to Dara K, if it was you who called in with your recordings, your 415 number. We appreciate your presence, but please have the courage and balls to have a one-on-one conversation for a minimum of 15 to 30 minutes. Bye, Dara. Buy the house. Thomas, don't work too hard, my friend. Abstract Echo, don't work too hard. Get some rest. Cotton Patch, Mark, Sandyman, Mike, all of you, legends. God bless. Thank you.